Hi, everyone. Mike White here, and welcome to this week's blog post. It's amazing that things remain in motion, and I keep talking about paying attention to what's going on and understanding the consequences, both from a big level, high level, macro view, as well as filtering it down on how it applies to you and your particular market. And so the topic this week that I'm really going through is dealing with forbearance yet again. It's in less than a week, we saw a couple of really significant changes or clarifications from the FHFA concerning forbearance. And so the first announcement that they made was they talked about that the payments of the deferment could be moved to the end of the loan, deferred all the way to the end, with obviously without interest and without penalty or fees. And so people could go in and take 12 months of forbearance, come out of the forbearance and flip the payments to the end of the loan. And what came with that was the fact that forbearance required that there be at least a minimum of 12 payments once they were out of forbearance, or at least 1 year after the forbearance was completed before that person be eligible for an agency loan. And the belief was that you had to have completed the forbearance and then wait for a year before you would be eligible for that agency loan. So whether it be the forbearance completed it in 3 months or a year or 2 years, whatever it was, the clock only started running once you reached the end of that forbearance period. Well, now what happened was the FHFA modified their position to now go to say, if people went into forbearance, but they kept making their payments, if their payments were current, all they had to do was conclude their forbearance, and they could make sure that they had made 3 payments, and they could go and they could refinance or buy another house. Then they said, they look in their interpretation, the forbearance was that forbearance about the conclusion of the forbearance, which means they had, people who didn't make a payment. Were those people who didn't make a payment, were they obligated to have made all of those payments and then make 3 payments before they could continue? Or did they have to just go into an agreement of repayment and make 3 payments on that agreement before they were eligible? So getting 100% clear and focused on the exact meaning, and as well as I do, in our industry, being very specific with the verbiage is very important, because there are a couple of things. First of all, the intent of what the FHFA has decided, or what Fannie and Freddie are agreeing to, may not always trickle down and apply to you, your company, your market, your investors. Let's be honest, a few months ago when this whole thing started and we saw what happened to people in the interest rate environment, there were some investors out there, lenders and companies, all of a sudden they couldn't do a loan under 680, or they wouldn't do a loan for somebody at a 620 credit score. And it had nothing to do with the fact that it wasn't doable. It had everything to do with their own decision based upon pricing and risk and what potential consequences were. So here's what I'm trying to share with you today is, you need to be aware on an ongoing basis as to the changes, and sometimes they happen very quickly. So you need to be aware of what's happening. But more importantly, managers, loan officers, companies need to be very, very aware of specifically how these things are going to impact you and your particular organization, because you may have different companies and different investors taking different positions on what they will do, what they won't do, and what the price will be to the person on the street. So you've got a couple of things here. Yes, loan officers, managers, you do need to know what the FHFA rules are and what they mean. But you also have to explain to people that says just because that's the rule, it doesn't mean that that's going to be effective for everyone across all areas. Because you may find out just because it says you can do the loan doesn't mean you'll find anybody who will make that loan or buy that loan. So again, be really clear about what you're doing. Be really clear about what these things mean in your environment specifically. Do not get into a debate with another lender or another originator about what they can do or what they can't do, because it's not worth having an argument. Different companies, just like right now, there are companies out there who are doing FHA loans with 620 and lower credit scores for people, and other companies who won't do them or won't buy them. So keep that in mind, see how this impacts you, and get really clear on the fact that things can change day by day. Lastly, I just wish that all of you would take a minute and go to YouTube and subscribe to the Improve My Tomorrow coaching website, the YouTube channel. You know, we just started populating the YouTube channel for Improve My Tomorrow coaching. We've got some of you who have already subscribed. We appreciate that. Little by little, we're putting more content on there, and we'll continue to do so. And there will be things that'll be present on that YouTube channel that you're going to find very helpful down the road. So please take a minute, go to YouTube, find Improve My Tomorrow coaching, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when we post some new things on there. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to me on YouTube. You can talk to us through Facebook, or as always, Mike at imtcoaching.com. Have a great week.